I'd love to talk with you sometime to see how you're all doing and what you're all up to. That'd be most awesome. Let me just make sure I got this here all right. Okay. Yeah. Well, welcome to today's live in my little 5-day New Year's challenge on goal setting. And just as a quick little recap, what we did on day 1 is a bit of a life assessment to kind of assess where we're at in our life, get a feel as to what areas we might want to, yeah, I'm wondering if I did this right, if it's sharing in the group, because why is it I'm not seeing it on here? This is, sorry, I just want to see if this is working. Because I did, I think maybe it is. Yes, it is. Okay, good. Yeah, so day 1 was doing a bit of a life assessment, okay, in terms of where we're at in our life, where we want to see some changes, what kind of goals we want to set. And then day 2, we talked a little bit about strategizing how to prioritize our goals, you know, how to approach our goal setting in terms of what's more important, how to schedule it and things like that. Then on day 3, we dealt with some mindset issues, how we need to have put in place a winning mindset, that how we can avoid self-sabotage, because this is a big issue for humanity, right? We tend to undermine ourselves and mess things up time and again because of our, you know, our social conditioning, how we've interpreted past experiences. They become stories that end up holding us back, and we need to replace what really I regard them now increasingly as lies about life, lies about ourselves, lies about, again, what we expect for the future, replacing them with the truth of what's meant to be, the truth of our destiny, the truth of the calling, that we are meant to achieve our goals, and that the desire for those goals are there spiritually encoded, because those are messages from above as to who we're meant to be and what we're all meant to do. And they're inviting us to step forward in creating our destiny. All right, it's a destiny that's latent within us, and we are pushed, pulled, given messages here and there that yes, this is what you're meant to do. This is your calling. This is your destiny. This is the little piece of that little puzzle, right, that only you can fit, that only you can complete, only you can do in the larger picture of the ecosystem, the larger puzzle of life, that you are that little piece that goes here and nobody else can take your place, all right? And that is what we need to align with, believe in, connect with, and commit to manifesting, actualizing in our lives. Then, as I mentioned, I think it was the first day, then we can die without regrets. Then we know that, yeah, I really showed up. Larry King, really, hey, welcome. Thanks for joining. That's when we can really know that we've shown up. Hey, Kim, hi, awesome. Yeah, this is, as I was just giving a recap, today is day 5 of our goal setting challenge. And so day 1, we talked about how to set up those goals in terms of doing a life assessment, what's been missing, where things are a little bit off in our life, what kind of goals do we want to create. Day 2, strategizing on how to prioritize them, you know, how to assess and figure out. Again, we could have like 1,000 goals in life. There's so many possibilities, so many things we could do, and we naturally just go into overwhelm. Right, and so we need to have a bit of a system in place as to sort that through, and a bit of a filter to assess which goals should we do when. All right, what's really most important for us? How do we go about prioritizing our goals? Right, so that's sort of what we did talked about in day 2, and then day 3, yeah, it was about mindset issues. Right, how we can sabotage ourselves and hold ourselves back, and so there's a lot that we can deal with there, and as I was just talking about, is we end up adopting unconsciously, all right, limiting stories, limiting beliefs that end up holding us back, that end up sabotaging us. And these limiting stories and beliefs, I regard them as lies, and that we need to come to the truth of what our calling and our destiny is, and we need to hold on to that, all right? So for example, a big thing for me, even this morning, all right, I had to do a little, and I introduced tapping as a technique to shift the energetic imprint that's been put in place Some is through social conditioning, through upbringing as kids, through different experiences we've had, that we then connect certain aspects about ourselves, our sense of identity, our life experiences. We then interpret them in a certain way. So we have a certain belief pattern that's tied in emotionally with how we feel, that's literally in our body, like an energetic blueprint, right? And so a very common one, and this is again, like for me, I was dealing with it this morning, is that I don't matter. That, and I'm going to start crying. My life really, who cares? Who cares that I'm doing this live video? Who cares what I've all experienced and what I've all learned in life, often the hard way, that's cost a lot, that's hurt a lot. Who really cares? Does it really matter if I do this live video here today? Does it really matter if I create material from what I've all learned and experienced that could help other people? Who really cares? What will be the reward in that? Huh? So there's this story here that I don't really count. I can easily be dismissed. What Linda thinks, who Linda is, doesn't really matter, because really she's just a nobody. Huh? And that, my dear friends, is not just me who experienced that. That is something that's so common to most of us. This belief that I really don't matter that much. My sense of value isn't really all that great. So who cares if I actually do this, if I actually realize these goals, all right? And then some of these goals, yes, we can have monetary goals. That's all great and dandy. Sometimes you might get them, sometimes you don't. You know, like bad stuff can happen, man. Believe me, I know. And so things can happen where we can become extremely disappointed in life, where our dreams can get crushed and pulverized, and we can get devastated many a time. And then it's a real challenge to pick ourselves up, to still choose to have hope, to still choose to believe in what's possible, to still choose to believe what is our destiny, right? We have to make that choice. And sometimes you make that choice in the face of utter darkness, in the face of hopelessness. We still choose to go forward, to rise up. And this is where, you know, for me, the spiritual is so necessary. That's when we need to call upon something bigger than me, something higher, something greater, something from outside of me, something that's higher and greater, to come in and please lift me up once again. Raise me up from the dead. Raise me up from the ashes. Please bring some life into me. Please give me some hope. Please show me a little bit of light. All right? That's when we call upon something greater. All right? And this, my dear people, you know, I don't know if you know me or not, but that's my area of so-called expertise, you know, having 2 master's degree and a PhD, and I've been teaching in comparative religion for over 30 years. And the reason why I got into that is because of spiritual experiences. The reason why I'm adamant about this is because I believe spiritual things, because I've experienced their reality and their power. And it's not just me as, oh, little Linda over here, but as I study human history, across culture, across time, across space, all of humanity, this has been central to the human experience, is a belief and a conviction that there is indeed a spiritual dimension to life, that there is this spiritual reality of a higher intelligence, all right, that we can call upon to come and empower us, raise us up again, to bring healing into our lives, to bring us vision, inspiration, guidance, all right? This is the story behind all the different world religions, where people across time and space can testify to this reality. And I'm very much a part of that. And that's what I hold to. And that has been, I mean, if it weren't for that, I don't know what I'd do. All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go talking on too much about myself, because I could talk for hours, believe me, about all kinds of things. But this is where the spiritual is key, and that's sort of what makes me tick, and what is a key factor in my life in raising me up and inspiring me to go forward time and time and time and time again. Okay. So anyways, I was like, wow, getting into mindset. On day 3, I was talking about how to anchor a winning mindset. And this is where I need to call upon and come back to the spiritual context of life. And with that spiritual context, to believe and know, not just believe. I mean, sometimes you just believe, but for me, I'm now in a place of knowing. There's this famous little video clip by Carl Jung where he's asked, do you believe in God? And he says, and he's smoking on his pipe, believe? I don't believe in God. I know God. That is what happens when, these spiritual experiences become so real. It's like, it's beyond belief. It's become real that you now know that these are realities. And it's that knowingness that gives you strength and gives you confidence, that you call upon that time and again. Sometimes to give you that hope when sometimes you cannot see. You do not see the future, but you still choose to believe. All right, because you know from your past experience that this is real, all right? And so that is what I call upon, and that is what I work with. When I shift my mindset from us holding to a lie about life, a lie about who I am, a lie about how life works, that, it's hopeless, life sucks, there's no point to it, why bother, you should just give up, life is just pain and suffering and misery, so just say goodbye to it all, and commit suicide. That's what leads to suicide, is believing these lies. And you've got to come back into the truth. And the truth is that life is good, right? And we're all meant to have an amazing destiny and calling. And it can take all kinds of shapes and forms. Sometimes and a lot of times, it's not all that nice. But the truth is that we are on a path of the knowledge of good and evil. That yes, we experience suffering and difficulties in life, but we're meant to call upon this higher power, this higher intelligence, to bring healing into that darkness, to bring light into it, to bring transformation, to create, to do the alchemical process of taking the crap that sometimes life comes in our path, right? And taking the lead, the dross, that crappy material, and working with it, bringing in this higher reality and truth and power spiritually, and transforming that lead into gold, creating treasures, bringing a higher truth out of what looks as though is hopeless, when it looks as though is mere suffering, pain, and despair, right? We bring the spiritual into that to raise it up and say, no. And this crap here right now is a stepping stone to the end goal of riches and spiritual treasures. And some, hey, those treasures can be material as well, okay? But we are meant to realize those treasures. That is the destiny. And that's a process that's involved here. And that's why we can't believe the lies. We have to hold to the truth, and we have to shift that. And that's where spiritual practices, hey, Godfrey, hey, thanks for joining in again. And as always, I always say, anybody who comes in and misses the beginning, please, watch this again after it's posted so that you don't miss some, I think, a lot of juicy stuff that you may have missed, okay? So it's just kind of summing up, and of course, I'm always adding to it. But yeah, alchemy. Alchemy is the process here of turning the lead of what crap can comes our way and transforming it into gold. And we need to do this shifting process, going from from the lies to the truth. All right, and claiming that through faith, all right, through choosing hope, to believing that life is good, that life is worth living, that I matter and my life matters, and I'm holding to that, and I'm going to work with that, right? I'm going to work with that. And so we need to do this mind game here, all right, of coming back into truth. And that's why it's so important to have a positive spiritual input in our lives. And that's why yesterday, so this goes to day 4, creating a daily success rituals. Why daily inspirational kind of reading is so key. Spending time in prayer, meditation. I use tapping as well, integrating that as I talked about yesterday, all right? We need positive spiritual input coming into our lives, all right? Because if we don't have that, we'll just have a lot of crap coming at us. And a lot of that crap is negative, can be despairing and hopeless, and gives us lies about what life is all about, who we all are, what's all meant to be or not be. And we need to hold to the truth that life is meant. And here, let me just go on a side note on this, because I don't think it gets talked about. Well, anyways, there's always so much I could say. Life is meant to be a joy. And I believe the joy of being is the purpose behind life and the purpose behind the universe. And why do I come to that? I'm often say that my religion is truth and my guru is life itself. Life is my guru. Life is my teacher. And when I observe life, what do I see? The phenomena of playing. And that animals play. And what does it mean to play? Well, when you watch animals, say you'll have a pack of wolves or whatever, right? And they're not hungry because they just ate. They're feeling very safe. They're rested up. They're well fed. They've got all their material needs met in that sense. And what do they then do? They play. And what is play? But simply a joyful engagement and interaction with their beingness and other people's or other wolves' beingness, all right? It's this interaction of joyful play. And it's just the pure joy of being and the joy of expressing and being who I am, right? That is the purpose. Life is meant to be joyful. Life is by design abundant. That is how it was created. Can you just look at this world? Look at, all the different species of plants there are. There's abundance of all kinds of variations of plants for all kinds of zones of climates, right? From the tropics to the Arctic, right? And then also all kinds of species and life forms to the depths of the ocean where they go deeper and deeper in the ocean. They go, there's no way life could be down here. It's impossible that there's any life. And ta-da! There's life down there in the depths of the ocean that they think is impossible, right? And then even in the soil at the microscopic level, you'll see, there's all kinds of little microbes crawling around in forms of life at the micro scale, right? And then the sky is filled with all kinds of birds. And, just this planet, this life is amazing. And you can just see when you look at reality, at the world of what we can see, it is abundant by design. And when our needs are met, we love to sing and dance and joyfully express ourselves. Right? And to me, that's a message. To me, this is, the revelation of the divine at work here, giving us the teaching that life is by design meant to be abundant, and secondly, it's by design meant to be joyful. Right? And that's the problem I have with, Buddhism that says life is suffering. Yes, there is suffering in life, but this is the pathway where we as creative beings with high levels of intelligence that unfortunately can work against us, but that's where we have to be smarter and use this intelligence. So our intelligence doesn't work against us, but for us. So through our creative intelligence of who we are, we can take that suffering, the trials and difficulties that life can happen, largely because of our own doing and people's doing, because we don't use our intelligence, all right? We tend to create our own suffering all the time, that we can transform that. We can take the lead and turn it into gold. It's a journey and process of alchemy. That is the path that we are on. This is the stepping stone to creating the best of all worlds. If you do any philosophy of religion, the problem of evil stuff, that's always how they talk. That this is the stepping stone and the way and the best way of getting to the world, the best of all possible worlds, where we then have activated our creative intelligence, our potential of who we all are, so that we literally can shift reality and turn lead into gold. That yes, we know the reality of both good and evil, and we have been able to overcome that evil. Now, don't you think that that is a higher calling than just being in some naive, blissful state where it's all good? and it's all sunshine and roses and nothing bad ever happens. And like, oh yeah, how much skills set, what kind of skill set do you have? How can you really handle reality if you're just in this naive little bubble of a little perfect world where there's no suffering, there is no evil, there are no problems? It's very naive. All right. So we are on a path of greatness, dear people, and we are called to be what I like to call quantum warriors, to learn how to be alchemists, to shift the dross, the crap, the suffering of this world and turn it into something good. To still hold and claim and work towards manifesting the kingdom of heaven on earth, the divine will. That we create goodness, we uphold and uplift goodness, we seek and find the goodness and beauty in life, and we allow it to be revealed in ever greater ways. This is what art used to do. You know, the art these days is just crap, really, a lot of it. But in the past, artists, they would see the divine in all aspects of life and try to bring the revelation of the divine through the art. All arts originally were sacred, had a sacred purpose of inspiration, of helping us connect to this higher reality, to seeing that this is indeed the truth behind, within all of life, right? And we need to bring back a sense of the sacredness to the arts, all right, in our world. And that's what music was for, dance was for. It was all meant for spiritual purposes, that we connect to life. Life, the source of life, which is the divine intelligence and energy that is present everywhere. If you have the eyes to see, it is present, latent, dormant within all of reality. If we could just tap into and bring it forth, right? Manifest it. That is our calling, dear people. That is our calling. That's what I believe anyway. Okay. Well, I should get off going, don't I? Now, where on earth was I? I was going through what we've done so far. So day one, in terms of the 5-day goal setting challenge, was to, assessing our life. Day 2 was prioritizing, knowing which goals to work with. Day 3 was dealing with the mindset issue, which has led to this tangent. Day 4 was creating your daily success ritual, right? Because again, we need that kind of discipline, that focus on a daily basis. And this is why I said yesterday, and I think because this really hit me. We have to do a pretty major sales job every day. We need to sell ourselves on our lives. Okay? We need to do a sales job, to sell ourselves every day. Okay, Linda, come on, man. These are your goals. This is who you are. This is your destiny. Do it, girl. You can do it. You can do it. Every day, we need to do a sales job. Otherwise, we get easily overtaken and swamped and brought down, where we forget who we are, why we're here, what we're meant to do. And we have the crap of this world just starts to dominate and take over, right? And we need to always press in on a daily basis to come back to what the truth is, who we are, what our destiny is, what we're meant to do, all right? We need to bring that back in again and again, okay? So that was day 4. Ta-da! Here we are on day 5. And today, I was just going to talk a bit about some productivity hacks after all that. I need a Kleenex here from, I was a bit teary-eyed earlier. Excuse me. So, I hope, please let me know if any of this makes sense to you. If any of this resonates, I'd really appreciate that. Any kind of comments in terms of, I don't know, if you like some of these ideas or not, or what you think of them, or whatever. And please feel free to share as well, okay? I really appreciate that, to see, again, like I was saying earlier, do I matter? Does my life matter? Does this matter, right? That's a struggle we all have, right? So anyways, today I was going to talk about productivity hacks, a few things. Again, there's so much I could always say, obviously. And that's why I can never follow a script. I can't ever follow a script. I never know what's going to come out of me. I just get going and ta-da, there you go. But that's okay. I don't mind. I hope you don't mind, because I sure don't. I have fun doing this. Oh boy. Anyway, so there we go. So what I was talking about, yes indeed, productivity hacks. Yes. Well, as I was intimating also a bit earlier, is, yeah, we have a lot of challenges today where overwhelm is a big thing. Overwhelm and distractions. Those are the 2 key things. there's like a gazillion things coming at us. We get so busy, especially today in our world, where, every family almost needs two incomes. I mean, we're so pressured, even largely for most of us financially, right, to make ends meet, to get ahead, and just to survive, just to have a roof over our heads and some money in the bank and food on the table, right? So there can be a lot of demands in terms of work and family and taking care of a home and parenting and all that kind of stuff. So we can get overwhelmed very quickly. And then there's also just so much around us that can distract us, of course, the usual social media stuff, and I might do it too. Facebook, isn't that funny? Oh, share this, share that, right? Being on the phone all the time. Again, distractions, overwhelm are our biggest challenges. And so that's what we really need to be on guard for. And so we need to be aware of that, okay, and manage them effectively. And there's, again, a lot involved with all of this here. So I'm just going to I can only highlight a few things here. Otherwise, I could be here for hours, and this is a full-blown course, okay? So first off, a lot of people have a to-do list. Some disadvantages about a to-do list is, you write things down and you cross off, but then on the other hand, you keep adding on at the bottom. And so that to-do list never hits an end. You never come to a sense of completion. And psychologically, that's very damaging. Psychologically, that wears us out. It disempowers us because you feel like, oh my God, I just never get done. I never get to the end. I never get the satisfaction. And again, it's actually biological, right? When we close the loop, we have something here, it is done, it's completed, finito, ha-ha, ta-da, a win, all right? We can own the win. We've brought a completion, and we get gratification, a sense of completion from that. And so this is a disadvantage about to-do lists. You need to structure that in a different way, all right? So I like using here, I got some here, Post-it notes, okay, Post-it sticky notes. I have different sizes and whatnot, and even bigger ones, yeah. And to do different things that I'll write out little tasks, like 50-minute tasks on a Post-it note in terms of what to do. And then again, this is all a long story here. I like to do it more fully as part of an actual course program here. But when you have these Post-it notes and you kind of put some, and I use here, I'm just going to grab this here for a sec here. It's not really, okay, whoops. I don't know if you can see this here, but like I have this big plastic thing. That's kind of a large plastic calendar. And then I can put my Post-it notes of things I want to do on different days or for the month and kind of lay it out like that, all right? And what you do is when you've completed something, you pull it off and you put it in a to-do basket. Okay, a to-do basket or some kind of a spot, however it works for you, but that it's completed, it's done. And there's a gratification of literally physically, I've done this, I put it over here, it is done, it is finished, it's off the board, I'm done. And especially like just for the week, okay? So that at the end of the week, you think, oh wow, look at what I've all got done. See, I got the whole nice little pile here of completion, pat myself on the back. That will empower you. That energizes you and gives you momentum to keep on going for the next day, all right? I noticed that the lighting changed here for some reason. It's kind of brighter here. I don't know, maybe it's getting brighter outside. Anyway, it's really useful. You will feel more empowered instead of disempowered with just the to-do list, okay? Because you're physically doing it like this. You're limiting what you're doing in a batch, like for this week here, and these are all the Post-it notes, all right? And as you move that there, that will be empowering you because you've also closed the loop. You've brought completion to things that are done, all right? That in a way, a to-do list doesn't work, okay? So anyways, that's just one little thing, all right, that to keep in mind here. Yeah. Another little thing I want to address is the myth about willpower. And, there's more talk about it these days because there's been research done on this. Willpower is actually just about energy, having that extra energy to do whatever needs to get done. And what takes up a lot of our energy is making decisions about things. It was interesting to find out that a setup that they did for Obama as a president, and you find this with a lot of high-level people, is as many like menial decisions in a day are already done for them and set up ahead of time. So that when he gets up in the morning, the suit is already laid out there for what he's going to wear that day. Somebody else has already done all the scheduling. He just needs to show up at the right place for the right time. And so the energy that he's got available, say, for important meetings is fully there. As opposed to taking the edge, oh, I got what am I going to wear today? What am I going to eat for breakfast today? Oh yeah, I have to schedule these appointments. Right away, all your energy is taken out, and then you won't have enough energy, i.e. willpower, to put it towards what really matters, what's really important. So this is why you need to set up as much as possible the night before. Okay? You need to plan the day the night before. Okay, in terms of what you're going to do. So say, if you got to get up early to go to work, you lay out your clothes before. You have your breakfast ready to go before as much as possible. Or even the coffee maker, you just push the button, is ready to go the night before. Just as an example, right? But especially planning out your day so you know exactly what you're going to be doing that day. You've made the decisions for that the night before, right? So that come in the morning, it's like, and then too, ideally, and this kind of comes in with environment, you want to set up your environment to be frictionless. You want to remove as much friction as possible so that when you get up to, maybe you've got a writing project and think, oh yeah, I'm going to be writing. I'm going to spend an hour writing tomorrow. Okay, fine. What you want to do is the night before, set up your desk, clear off the space, have your writing materials there, even your computer maybe open up on the right page, the glass of water ready there, or whatever it is. Have it all set up the night before. So there's minimal friction. You've got the clothes ready, you've got the coffee ready, you've got the whatever all ready, right? So that when you get up in the morning, because that's when your energy is the strongest, that is when you should tackle your most important goals, all right? Your most important tactics or things that you need to do is first thing in the morning. That's when you're fresh. That's when your energy is on it. And boom, commit to that. Make what's most important the number one thing you do in the day, if at all possible. Okay, because that's when your energy is freshest. And I don't know about you, but for me, I'm brain dead in the evening. I'm almost pretty useless, and so and again, I know everybody's different. There's some people who are real night owls, and they really can do a lot of their creative work and whatever at night. Great if that works for you, okay? For a lot of people that doesn't, but for some people that does. Whatever works for you, okay? Tune into that. That it's all, willpower is about energy. And you've got to when you have the most energy, put it into working on the most important things. When you put your best energy into what's most important to do and bring it to completion, that is when you start really moving ahead and start making momentum and getting ahead, okay? That is really key. That is really key. Because too often what can happen is we waste a lot of our energy. And so when we talk a lot about time management, it's really self-management. Managing my energy, managing my tasks, and how I can most effectively put my energy towards the most important tasks. That's really what time management is, okay? And so that's all very unique for every individual in terms of, what your schedule ends up like. If you work a 9 to 5, or if you don't, or whatever your hours are, you've got to find a way that works for you, okay? But this is a key thing. It's all about energy management. So keep that in mind. And that's why, that very well-known book by Brian Tracy, Eat That Frog, he held, and this is key. What you most resist, what you're really kind of stalling at doing, okay, because you resist it because, it's going to be so hard. I don't know how to do it. Do that first. Eat the frog first. Do that which you are most resisting and avoiding and dislike doing. Try to do that first and get it out of the way, okay, in terms of some of your projects. Again, a lot of it depends on what they are and who you are and the whole scene. And that's why I find it hard talking about it in generalities like this. But too often, once you've got that out of the way, the big thing out of the way, the most important thing out of the way, the rest of it flows. Okay, and I know for me, I like to do my brain work in the morning, first thing in the morning. Okay, that's what works for me. Some people like exercising first thing in the morning. I don't. I like to exercise early afternoon. Okay, or else a bit in the evening because I'm brain dead in the evening. Then it's like I like to socialize. I just goof around. That's just more playtime for me. usually in the evenings, or I'm teaching, because then my energy has to be focused because I'm in the classroom, I'm giving lectures, I'm there, you know. And so, but late afternoon, that's when I do stupid stuff. I'll get groceries, do laundry, clean the house, you know, whatever, you know, make supper, just, you know, the usual kind of daily maintenance stuff. I'll save that for later in the day because that's when I'm starting to go brain dead. Okay. So the miscellaneous stuff, I put that on the side. I don't make them a priority. Those things I squeeze in around the priorities. Okay, and so this is where you need to block your time in an effective way, that this is a time for really focusing on what's really important here. And ideally, if you can put in 90 minutes a few times a week, you know, and I'm assuming, you know, you got a day job and everything else going, but if you could put in 90 minutes just even 2-3 times a week and be consistent in that, on focusing on what's most important for you in terms of big goals, all right, you'll see quantum success, all right? You'll really see some momentum happening and some breakthroughs. And it's just blocking that time effectively so that you're at a peak energy, okay? Peak energy, and committing to it. And planning it the day before, the night before. Being clear on what you're doing then. Don't sit down and think, okay, this is my block. What am I doing right now? I don't know. And then you spend an hour figuring out what you're trying to do. Yeah, maybe do that once a week, okay? On Sunday night, figure out what it is you're going to be doing this week in your focus times. What are you going to be working on this week? Schedule your weeks ahead of time. Just as you schedule the day the night before, schedule your week a week before or ahead of time. And then backtrack that to schedule your weeks a month at a time. Review the month. What am I going to be doing each week? Okay, and then for the month, do it the 3-month, the 90-day kind of protocol, okay, that I talked about earlier, not today, but previous days. Working with the 90-day model is the most effective for getting things done, all right? It just tightens that time span. When you think of a year, it's just too far in the distance, okay? You need to think in 90-day segments. It's the most effective way for realizing goals. Okay, so hopefully all that makes some sense and is useful to you. Let me just see here. What else was it I was going to try to talk about here today? I have a slide on this. Hopefully does this make some sense? Hopefully this is of some use to everybody, I hope, I trust. That'd be great. Now, with, what was I going to say here? One thing that really hit me a few years ago with one of my mentors, Todd Herman, he talked about the owl brain and the wow brain. And this is something that really hit me in terms of how I focus. And, you know, we can be at a certain place here and we look forward to our goal. And when we look ahead, we'll see all the things we still have to do. And like, oh my God, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to. We go into overwhelm. We get discouraged, we think, oh, all this work yet, I'm not anywhere close to the goal, right? And it can take us out of the game. We develop what he called an owl brain. It hurts. It hurts to look at our goal because we look, just all we see is what we yet have to do that we haven't yet done. And so we get discouraged. What we need to do is instead, from our present point of time, look to the past and look at where we've all come from, what we already have accomplished, what we already have done, okay? And we need to celebrate the past wins. This is so key. When we look in the past and what we've all accomplished and what we have done, and we're owning those wins, because I talked about that the other day, that we need to own those wins, we need to celebrate, we need to track. This is why it's so important to track what you do. Write it in your daily journal, your successes of the day, your wins of the day, and own those wins, right? That's like with those Post-it notes. You know, collect those wins and think, look at what I have all done. When you do that, you get encouraged instead of discouraged. It creates the wow brain, like, wow, look at what I've all done. Okay, that will empower you. That will encourage you to keep going. Because sometimes, you know, as I say, you got this big mountain that you're climbing, and it can be overwhelming. But you got to chunk it down to step by step by step and keep it up consistently, and always look at how far you've come, how far you've gone. You're getting there. You're making progress, all right? Create a winning mindset this way, all right? A winning approach to things. Empower yourself this way, all right? Hey, Maria, glad you joined. Do watch it from the beginning, because there's a lot of stuff I covered here, okay? But this is a key to have a winning mindset, all right? Is to focus more on what you already have done, to be encouraged by your past successes, your past wins, and that's why it's so important to have in place some way of tracking what you actually get done, all right? Well, you've got to measure things. You've got to track things. Keep a record of your daily wins, your daily successes, so that builds confidence. That will give you more momentum to keep going forward. You will be encouraged to go forward to attaining your goals, all right? Instead of just seeing how much more you have to do and being discouraged. So this is a key thing, all right? Okay. Yeah. Well, I think, you know, just to give you a few tips, those were a few tips here. I do have a handout here. Let me just see here. Is there anything else that I wanted to definitely say today? Because again, there's a lot that I could say. Oh, here. Yeah, this is one thing I wanted to conclude with for today. Okay, because I think I've already been here for about 40 minutes. I was meaning just to do 10 minutes. It never goes 10 minutes. So, yes, what I would like to encourage you to conclude with just today is to take a look at your life and see, is there a particular habit that you want to change? Well, you know what you would regard as a bit of a bad habit, okay? And with a bad habit, what you need to do is not you just get rid of a bad habit. You need to replace it with a good one, okay? So tip there, okay? Replace a bad habit with a good habit. And so just think of whatever your bad habit is, what would be the opposite of it that would be a good habit that you could replace it with, all right? So I just want to challenge with you to identify a particular bad habit, what it is that you would replace it with, all right? And then just think, when you want to replace that bad habit with a good habit, what is the key thing of a different new good habit that would have the most impact, that would bring about the most positive change in your life? What would be that one thing? What do you think it would be? The one thing that would bring about the most positive change in your life. And I don't want to tell you what that is, because everybody's a bit different. One thing that I could say could be is to write out your goals and look at them every morning and commit to doing an action on one of them every day. That could be just one thing, just making that kind of commitment, as opposed to writing out your goals and just kind of forgetting about them or just putting it aside and not committing to having it in front of your face in some way every day, and you commit to some kind of action on a daily basis towards one of your main goals. Right? Like just something like that, for example, could be a really good thing to do. Or, you know, again, planning your day the night before is also a very powerful action. New habit that you could use to replace a bad habit of falling asleep watching Netflix. Okay. That could be a new good habit to replace a bad habit. That, no, I'm going to plan exactly the actions I'm going to take tomorrow towards my goals. And I'm going to have that set up for myself. Okay, so I would like to encourage you to choose something, commit to doing it, replacing the bad habit with a good one of some kind, okay? That could be pretty easy to do, It's not like it's going to be mega hard, okay? But just some kind of commitment like this, and then commit to doing it for the next 7 days, for the next week, all right? And what I would love to do is check in with you next week to see how it's going, to see if you've done that. And if you are willing, I would love for you to post below what that good habit is that you want to put in place, right? And that you want to commit to doing over the next week. And we can touch base on that in a week from now. That would be pretty awesome. So Thank you. I hope this was all of some benefit to you. This is sort of the last of the 5-day New Year's challenge, goal setting challenge. If you missed any of this, I will again post a link below that you could sign up for if you want to get the past videos and the handouts that go along with a lot of the stuff that we talked about here. And yeah, I will post that link so you can get that material. I would love for you to do that. And I appreciate you letting me know whatever you think. Any kind of comments would be appreciated. I'd love to hear what sort of commitments you're making. Please feel free to share this. And I am wishing you a most happy new year, a fantastic 2020. And I am planning on doing a Facebook Live once a week. All right, in some way, I'm thinking Fridays, maybe Sundays, or on the weekend. I'll sort of see, but one of those days, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. All right, once a week, just to see, let you know some things that I'm thinking about. Okay, and to see if it can inspire and encourage you to move forward in your life. So blessings to you all. Wishing you all a most wonderful day, a most wonderful year, a most wonderful life. Okay, love and blessings to all. Thanks for being here.